So far, so good? Okay, so tool number one, and you're gonna actually be able to implement this stuff if you're listening and taking notes. The first tool that you want to be thinking about is a customer avatar canvas. You want to build a profile of your perfect customer. Has anybody here done that? Okay, so I can't tell you how many times I see people also ignore this step and they say, oh, I know my customer. I don't need to write this stuff out. This is just, this is just a waste of time. Then I always would challenge those people and I'd say, but do you really? Let's document this stuff. So this is the tool that we use. One of my other favorite tools from our friends at Digital Marketer. You basically want to fill out this customer avatar canvas based on the perfect type of customer that you want to attract. Who here has multiple customer segments that you could sell to? Right? Lots of different customer segments, different age groups, different motivations, different reasons that they buy from you. So you want to build a profile for each of your customer segments, and you want to start with the one that you want the most of, right? Does that make sense? And if you have more than one, you would make more than one. So I'm going to show you an example of a real customer avatar canvas that we made for one of our clients back in Canada, and where this client is called Ocean Sports. There's not an ocean in sight where we live, kind of just like here, maybe, right? There's no ocean nearby, right? So there's no ocean nearby, but they mostly sell like lake sports. So it's this Lake Dad Daryl. This is the guy with all the cash who goes to the lake and buys the boat and buys all the good gear for the kids, right? So you want to start with at the very top there with the avatar. Basically what we're doing is we are just picking a segment, Lake Dads, and giving it a name, Daryl, Lake Dad Daryl, easy to remember. So you want to pick your perfect segment and tack on a name. Easy peasy. And then you go to demographics and interests. You want to know the demographics. What are their most common age, income? Where do they live? How many children do they have? Are they married? You're thinking about these demographics. But then you're also thinking about interests, because you're going to use those interests to build interest audiences when you start advertising, right? So when I think about interest for Lake Dad Daryl, I'm like, okay, if I went into his boat, what other kind of products would I find? If I went into his truck, what kind of products would I find? What kind of brands would I find? If I went into his fridge, what kind of brands would I find? And we're trying to really, really nail it down on what do all the Lake Dads own, right? And then you want to think about a quote that your customer segment would say. And you want to picture your perfect segment is sitting on Instagram, scrolling through Instagram, and all of a sudden a meme pops up. And they're like, oh, like nodding. Aggressive nodding is always my test. If you've hit it on the head, you want to picture your customer aggressively nodding, not being like, oh, that's a cheesy ad or that's kind of nothing. You want them nodding. That's like the effect we want with ads. So you want to think of a quote that would get your customer segment nodding and sharing that with all their friends. So for our Lake Dad here, it was, my boat runs on gas, not thanks, right? Because he's taking everybody out on the boat, costs so much money to fuel this thing. And everybody's like, thanks, Daryl. And he's like, my boat runs on gas, not thanks. It's a funny joke. It was actually so successful for them that they made a bunch of mugs, like tumblers, to bring on the boat with this quote. But you want to do this because you want to get into your customer segment's mind, and you want to be thinking about what kind of content you can create and write that is going to resonate with them. So never want to skip over any of these exercises. Frustrations and fears, we're going to jump down there to the lower right there or left. And these are the things that he wants to move away from in life, right? So with him, he wants to make sure the kids are having the best quality products. He doesn't like the cheap gear that needs to be replaced all the time. We're going to skip over to wants and aspirations. He wants happy family moments and memories. He wants to have like the perfect getaway home that he can escape to, right? He's trying to build like a legacy. And then key purchase drivers. This one is incredibly important because this is like objection handling. When people are on your product page, some people might be like, I get it, they buy right away, but more people will not do that. And they're dealing with objections in their mind. There's a little voice whispering in the back of their head saying, what size is it? When does it arrive? How much does it weigh? What does it look like on me? How does it flow in fabric when I'm walking down in a rainy day, right? Like there's so many objections in your customers' minds. So key purchase drivers are how we document all those objections. The last thing you want on your product page is to not give the customer enough information where they leave your site to go research a product like yours or yours on another site because they couldn't get enough information from you. That is the worst thing. So you really want to make sure that your product page is handling all these objections. For Lake Dad Daryl, it's like the kids guide what the products to buy. They're the decision makers pulling on dad's shirt saying, buy me this brand, that cool thing, this cool thing, right? So we need to know that about him. Kids have the wish list. He needs to look at the lakes. Style options are important. You get it, right? Now, the best part, my favorite thing about this customer avatar, this is why I'm a coach over at Digital Marketers, because I'm so obsessed with these tools. I use them for my real business for a very long time. We built a lot of great case studies with these, but this part's my favorite one. This is the before and after grid, okay? So right now, you need to pretend that your customer is in this deep, miserable state. It's terrible. Sometimes I like to call this like Hell Island and Heaven Island. And right now they're on Hell Island. And you want to be thinking about all of the things that are making their life miserable. And it starts with, what do they have? So what does our lake dad Daryl have? He has outdated, uncool, broken down gear, right? And how does that make him feel? It makes him feel embarrassed and guilty, right? And how does that feeling of embarrassment and guilt impact his average day? Well, now he doesn't go to the lake often, and he's not spending quality time with his family, right? And how does that impact his status? Your status is your standing, your increase or decrease standing in comparison to your peers. So how are his peers judging him because he never goes to the lake? He's a recluse neighbor. He's reclusive now. What a loser. The good versus evil now. There's often an evil in the world that your product will help overcome. One good example of a good versus evil here is like, he never went to the lake. He became a reclusive neighbor, and his kids don't get outside, and they grow up on Snapchat, and they grow up on TikTok, and they're stuck to their phone. What a bad situation, right? So this is usually where people get really hung up on their marketing messaging. They talk about the have and the feeling. Hey, we have all these products. It's going to make you feel awesome. But they don't talk about how you should do this more because your kids are going to be stuck on Snapchat if you don't hit the lake. Right? So these are some deeper motives as we go down that list, right? And then what do we have at the after state here? Now we have top quality gear that's trendy and sexy. How does that make me feel? Proud to show it off. I'm empowered. I'm excited. My average day, I'm at the lake every weekend, building, bonding with family and friends. My status now, I'm the guy that everybody at the lake wants to hang out with or be. And good versus evil, kids are healthy, athletic, and they lead to more people being healthy too. Right? Okay, so that's pretty cool. You guys kind of get where I'm going with this content here. So now here's the groundbreaking part is that, okay, so put your hands up again if you've built a customer avatar before. Did you do anything with it? Anybody? Okay, awesome. I like this guy in the back. Okay, but most people don't do anything with it. And I've like fought this battle for a long time of people not really doing anything with it. But this is the simplest thing you could do. Is eventually we're going to launch an ad experiment in my presentation. I'm going to take you all the way to launching a Facebook ad experiment. And when you launch a Facebook ad experiment, every Facebook ad that does well speaks to a big idea or transformational state of your customer segment. So when you create an ad, it needs to be built around an angle. What angle are you going to take with this ad, right? There's a million different angles you can take for your products. Wear this apparel to the post-COVID launch party, wear this thing on a summer day with your kids. You know, there's like 1,000,001 different angles that you could take for your product. I don't care what product it is, there's a million. And if I had an extra day, we could sit around and do 1,000,000 different angles. But all you need to do is pick out 3 to 5 from your avatar. So we would just pluck out 3 to 5 different little ad angles, right? What are 3 to 5 little good ones here? Get your kids off Snapchat and hit the lake. That was a pretty good one, right? Make memories for friends and neighbors. That's a good one. And show your kids you're cool. That's pretty cool too, right? And then when it comes time to create an ad, you're going to build it around these angles.